Hello and welcome back to another episode of Injustice For All MMA. My name is David. This episode is for UFC 300 Pereira v Hill. Obviously, this episode is 2 days late, but it is what it is. Bear with me. It doesn't really matter at this point. I'm going to go through each and every one of the fights because it's a special occasion. Usually I just go through the fights that have scorecard inconsistencies. I'll still mention them if they have them, but I'm just gonna go through each and every fight because it's a special occasion, and every single one of these fights are basically, at the very least, fight night main events. At the very least, right? Some of them are pay-per-view worthy fights, and some of them are fight night main events. Let's start with the first one: Figueredo versus Garbrandt. No scorecard problems here. I think all of us universally agree that Garbrandt won the first round. He basically was just pretty much point fighting the entire first round. He outstruck Figueiredo by, I want to say, like 7 strikes. And then the second round, Figueiredo realized, okay, if I don't turn it up and at least try to take him to the ground, I'm going to lose the decision here. And guess what? He won by submission. So pretty decent fight. The next fight was Green versus Miller. This fight is amazing. And during the press conference, I believe Dana said something about, hey, I'll take care of Kayla Harrison, I'll take care of Figueiredo. If he doesn't take care of Bobby Green, someone's got to slap Dana. Someone's going to slap him because Bobby Green put on a masterpiece. A masterpiece from a blood standpoint. He put on a masterclass from a striking standpoint. I was scared. There are pockets in this fight where I was just like, okay, Bobby Green's going to get tagged. Oh my God, Bobby Green's going to get tagged. Oh my God, Bobby Green's going to get tagged. And there are moments where he does get hit. It's weird because I refrain from saying that Bobby Green has no chin, but he kind of doesn't have a chin anymore, but his style, I would think his style would be let me point fight, but at the same time be safe. But instead, and when I say point fight, I don't mean it in the disparaging way. I mean it in the sense of he's like hitting and then retreating, and slipping punches that are coming his way. But a lot of the punches that do connect to him, he does seem to get on wobbly legs, or he clinches up, or he just starts to duck a lot. Not just one duck. Excuse me. Multiple ducks. That's something that happened even in this fight. But back to the point. He put on a masterpiece. He put on a masterclass. He put on just all around. He did it all around, and it was amazing. This has some scorecard inconsistencies. I had this 30-26, a 10-8 in the third round. In the first round, Green outstruck Miller by 15-plus strikes. All right, there's this part at the end where Miller kind of touches him, and Green starts to freak out a little bit, but it belongs to Green. It belongs to Green. Every round belongs to Green. We don't even have to talk about this. Second round, Green outstrikes Miller by about 25-plus strikes. I mean, I put a possible 10-8 here. You can argue a 10-8 here. I didn't, but you can argue a 10-8 here. Then you go to the third round where Green had a takedown like towards the end of the round, but that's irrelevant. He outstruck him by 30-plus strikes. I wanted to write 40, but I'm counting live. I'm not going to take the UFC stat numbers. He outstruck him by about 30-plus. Definite possible 10-8. I put a 10-8. It's a 10-8 for sure. You can argue the second round a 10-8. You could argue a 30-25. I had a 30-26. You can argue a 30-25. Boom. Right? You go to the judges' scorecards. Here, and I'm going to pull them up. And David Letheby had a 30-25. I agree. You have Tony Weeks. He had it 29-26. Just stupid. Honorable mention to Tony Weeks. Just a shitty scorecard. He gives the first round to Miller. I don't know what he saw. I don't know what he's seeing. Miller is getting outstruck the entire round, and then there's this weird instance at the end where Miller gets tagged. It seems to be that Vegas judges love when someone gets rocked, that just eliminates everything that was done in the round. It's the stupidest thing. Not dropped, but like kind of rocked with a hard punch. Let's forget that Miller was getting hit with hard punches, but whatever. That brings into question what I said before about Green having a really soft chin, and that's going to be a problem. Let's just say he faces Patty in the future. Well, guess what? I don't know if that will be. I don't even know how that fight goes, so I'm not even going to comment on that. But just an honorable mention from Tony Weeks. He gives the first round to Miller. That's so fucking stupid. Gives the next two rounds a 10-8. That's correct. I'm cool with that. Then you go Chris Lee. First round he gives to Miller. Stupid. Second round he gives to Green. Last round he gives a 10-8. So you have a 29-27 from Chris Lee, a 30-25 from David Lethaby, and then a 29-26 from Tony Weeks. Just all over. Ridiculous. He won all three rounds. Nonsense. You go to the next honorable mention, and this is Andrade versus Rodriguez. I was watching this at a party, like a watch party. So when I say I had to rewatch this fight, I had to rewatch the fight. Initially, I had 30-27. Okay, initially I had 30-27. This fight ended in a split decision. On the rewatch, it's still a 30-27. So on the party, I was like, I watched the first round. I was like, okay, confident I don't have to rewatch. The second round, I was like, I might have to rewatch this. Let me mark this down. Third round, I was like, okay, I have this correct. Either way, it's a 30-27. So 30-20, or excuse me, at the very least, right? Because I had to rewatch the second. It's a 29-28 for Andrade. I was surprised when I even heard the split decision, but then I rewatched it, and it's still 30-27. So we go to the first round. Okay, we go to the first round. Let me unlock my phone here. We go to the first round. Okay, if I can find it now. We go to the first round where Andrade has 2 minutes of ground and pound. All right, and she outstrikes Rodriguez. We go to the second round. She outstrikes Rodriguez towards the end. Now, Rodriguez is outstriking her. Now, there's a part in the commentary where the commentary, DC specifically, says that Rodriguez is outstriking her for 4 minutes. And then Andrade basically has a minute of striking. That just sounds, even when I was watching it live, I was like, I have to rewatch this because I don't think what he's saying is like truly accurate. But I took what he said as gospel in the moment. Went back home and I was like, no. This is fucking stupid what he said. Because, and not by a lot. I don't mean this as an insulting way. I mean in the sense that Rodriguez is outstriking Andrade in the second round up until that minute where Andrade catches Rodriguez and then just starts to land a bunch of shit. She's outstriking Andrade, but not by a lot. She's outstriking her by like 4 or 5 strikes. It's nothing crazy. It's not like she's up 10 strikes, up 20 strikes. No. A lot of Rodriguez's strikes are whiffing. Again, even in this fight, Anik and crew are talking about the stat numbers on how bad she's missing, and they were trying to basically say, hey, the UFC guys backstage are they're counting the jabs that the shots that she doesn't intend to land. And while I agree with that, I've always complained about that, about how do you quantify which one is landing and which ones are just setups. Forget about the setups. A lot of Rodriguez's strikes that were intended to touch Andrade were missing a lot. So it's not like the UFC backstage were just clicking numbers. No. Rodriguez was missing by a lot. She would throw like a 5 punch. She would throw a 5 punch combination and land 1. She would throw a 3-piece and land nothing. She would throw a 4-piece and land 1. A lot of Rodriguez's combos would end in either 0 or 1. And that's very important because she's going into that last minute of the second round up, I want to say, conservatively, 5 to 6 strikes. And right when she gets caught, Andrade just lets up a bunch of punches that equal up her strikes, and then she goes away with the strikes. This round belongs to Andrade for sure. You go to the third round. Andrade outstrikes Rodriguez. She drops her with a leg kick. It's her round for sure. Again, Rodriguez is kind of up a little bit, but towards the end, Andrade kind of takes it away. It's a 30-27. It's a clean 30-27. If you want to be cute about it, 29-28, but it's a 30-27. You go to the judges' scorecards here. Adelaide Bird gives the first 2 rounds to Andrade, gives the last round to Rodriguez. Just nonsense. At this point, what the fuck are you watching? What the fuck are you watching? Honorable mention there. It's stupid. Giving the last round to Rodriguez he's wild. You go to the next round. You go to the next judge. Derek Cleary gives the last 2 rounds to Rodriguez. Again, maybe optics took a bit in this fight, but it's nonsense. He gives the last 2 rounds to Rodriguez. Honorable mention there. That's incredibly stupid. And then David Letheby, his scorecard reflects Adelaide Bird. Honorable mention, it's a bad scorecard. Just bad scoring all around, really. You go to the next fight, and it's Turner versus Moicano. First round, everyone agrees goes to Turner. Moicano's winning. Moicano's winning the first round. Okay, he gets a takedown with some ground and pound. At the very end of the round, Moicano gets dropped by Turner, and Turner walks away. And even in the moment when I was watching it, I was like, why did he just walk away? Why can't these guys... Why? Bro, you're not cool. Even when Jalen Turner was in the win streak, he wasn't cool. Like, what the fuck are you doing? He gets Moicano. Moicano's chinny. We've seen it in the Fizzy fight. We've seen it in the Fizzy fight. We saw it in the... excuse me. We've seen it in the Dos Anjos fight. Jalen Turner should have beat him. And granted, it was 7 or I forget how many seconds it was left, maybe 10, conservatively, I can't remember. But he drops him, lay enough ground and pound, and we're looking at something maybe different going into the second, or maybe even a finish in that first round, who knows? Instead, he drops him, he walks away. We go into the second round where Moicano wins by TKO. And he wins by TKO, first of all, by taking him down. And in between the ground and pound, just landing just like a little shovel thing through the hands of Turner, and Turner's stunned, and it's the end and that brings up the win for Moicano. We go to the next fight. It's Yousef versus Lopes, since he's Brazilian, but yeah, I'll just say Lopes. Yousef versus Lopes. They start off on the feet. Lopes catches Yousef, and he finishes him by TKO. In my head, I was thinking he was supposed to sub him. I didn't think he was going to fucking beat him on the feet. Well, guess what? That's what happens. He beats him on the feet, and that's pretty much the end of it. You go to the next honorable mention, all right, and that's Holm versus Harrison. Dana wants Holm to retire. I'm in full agreement here. I'm not in agreement on how they scored this, though. First round, I had a 10-9 for Harrison. Okay, in that very first round, Holm had a takedown. Holm got the takedown, right? She basically, it's not really a takedown. It's kind of a reversal, if you want to be cute about it. I wrote takedown, but it's a reversal. She reverses Harrison. They get back up. Harrison gets a takedown with about 3 minutes of ground and pound. Now, watching it live, it was ground and pound, but it wasn't enough. Nothing in my mind yielded, this is enough ground and pound to exhibit a 10-8. That never crossed my mind. When I was watching the Green fight, granted, this is different, it's on the feet, but we've seen many cases of ground and pound 10-8s. It never crossed my mind of, Kayla kind of 10-8'd her. There was no mention of that. I take a peek at the judges' scorecards, and we'll talk about that in a second. But second round, Harrison gets a submission on Holm, and we all want Holm to retire. We go to the judges' scorecards, where Mike Bell has a 10-9 for Harrison, okay, and then Derek Cleary and Saul Diamano decide, fuck it, Holm is old, so we're just going to rate an 8. Nonsense. There's no need for that 10-8 there. I think it's stupid. I'm going to give an honorable mention. It's stupid. I think it's fucking stupid. They're clearly insulting him. Honorable mention. There's no need for a 10-8 there. It's a 10-9, and then we move on. Okay. All right, we go to the next fight, and it's arguably, it's definitely, there's only, listen, out of all the fights on the card, there's only 2 boring fights. There's only 2 bad fights, and it's Kattar versus Sterling. I like Kattar. I'm a big Calvin Kattar fan, so I'm not biased, but I'm just telling you that I like Calvin Kattar. Sterling versus Kattar, it's a 30-27. It's the most boring fight on the card. It's absolutely ridiculous. Sterling had 3 takedowns with some ground and pound. The second round, he had 2 takedowns with a little bit of ground and pound. This time, he just laid on him. And then in the third round, he had 2 takedowns with ground and pound. Basically, it was he got him down. Kattar had no answer. Kattar got up a couple times, but really he had no answer. To say that Sterling looks big at 145 is an understatement. He looks kind of fat. He looks like Volk kinda, body wise at like when Volk was at when Volk on short notice, because there's a difference. Volk on short notice at 155 looked like Sterling at 145, and then Volk on short notice, fighting at 155 the first time, he looked pretty decent, but Sterling looked fat. He looks like, I feel like if he fights I don't want to say if he fights a much more experienced 145er, that's not, because this is a great 145er. If he fights like Emmett Smith, if he fights Emmett Smith, I don't even think he takes that fight. Let me just stop for a second. I don't think he takes that fight, but I don't think it goes this way. I really don't think it goes this way. Granted, he looks bigger. He looks a lot bigger, so who knows? It's a different thing we're looking at here. Could Sterling fight for a title? I don't know. I mean, based off of this, sure, but he looks... this was so fucking boring. I was so mad. This was boring. Super, super boring. We'll move on. Then we go to arguably the fight of the night. Well, it's not the... I would say the fight of the night, right? I hate going off UFC fight of the nights because they shows Gaethje versus Holloway. Granted, that fight was one-sided throughout. It was one-sided throughout, minus the 4th round, but it's one-sided. Let's not kid ourselves here. This fight was, in fact, not one-sided, but in a slightly different way. We had Prochazka versus Rakic. Okay, I had a 10-9 for Rakic in the first. I'm sure everyone did. Pretty much Rakic was just... He was just outstriking Prochazka, mainly with leg kicks, really. But Prochazka was just like, no, I have no defense. He was doing the typical, you're not... And he said in the press conference, post-fight press conference, that basically Rakic's shots just weren't heavy. They weren't heavy at all. They were kind of stringy, right? They weren't clean in any capacity, and I thought that proved a lot. But also it made me scared for Prochazka in the future because he just continues to fight recklessly. But he keeps getting away with it. But it's like a cool getting with it. It's like you want him to get away with it. It's amazing. Every single fight he's fought in, minus the Ozdemir fight, this guy's gotten hurt. In the Reyes fight, he got hurt multiple times. In this fight, he got hurt. In the Glover fight, he got hurt. In the... Obviously, the Pereira fight, which I thought was stopped a little early, got hurt. It's just a crazy. First round is just Rakic, just fuck it. We'll just leg kick, occasional strike to the head. Rakic wins the first round, and then in the second, Rakic is doing the same thing, but this time, Prochazka's just inching closer, catches him, and it's a TKO finish. But they're both, but it's a funny finish because while Rakic is trying to get up and he's just getting hit, Prochazka looks spent as well. He looks tired as well. But we know that he has weird. I don't want to even say like 5-round cardio. It's like he's tired, but he has enough cardio to just keep going. Something just keeps willing him to keep going. It's amazing. This was my fight of the night, at least. Then we go to the second most boring fight of the night, and that was Nickal versus Brundage. Nickal in the first round. If I can find my notes again somewhere here. Yeah, Nickal in the first round. He had a takedown with little to no ground and pound. I mean, Nickal is becoming. Nickal is. I don't know what they're teaching at ATT. It's insane because he has him down. He has Brundage down, and he's looking for a submit. I don't know if he's here, if he has like an appointment after the fight. He's got to meet a girl after the fight. I know he's married. If he has to go to a dentist appointment, what the fuck is he thinking to just take someone down and just like to just hump him for 3 minutes? No, dude, we need strikes from you. I think the first 2 minutes he's on top of Brundage, he's just holding him. He's holding to the point where Brundage at the end of the round is putting his tongue out. He's having fun. Obviously, he was sent to lose. Brundage was sent to lose, but and this fight shouldn't have touched the main card. But that's whatever. Everything happens for a reason. Takes him down, little ground and pound for 3 minutes. Second round, takes him down again, submission, and he subs Brundage. We go to the next honorable mention. This one's an interesting one. All right, it's Oliveira versus Tsarukyan. I had it 30-27 Tsarukyan. Close mark on the first round. You can argue the first round for Oliveira. At the very least, it's a 29-28 for Tsarukyan. Split decision win for Tsarukyan. Very interesting because there's a contingency online that believe that Oliveira won. If you ask me, I'm the biggest Oliveira fan on the planet. This shouldn't be a 30-27. Excuse me. This shouldn't be an Oliveira win. And what they're citing are the submissions. Here's what's funny. We go to the first round. Tsarukyan has a reversal with some ground and pound. All right, Oliveira has some ground and pound and a submission attempt. You can argue this round for anyone, but the submission attempt at the start is very important. This is arguably what wins Oliveira the first round. Right. And then Oliveira has some decent ground and pound. Now, you could argue the first round for Tsarukyan in the fact that Tsarukyan then gets a reversal and he lands some ground and pound as well. Which one to value is up to you. The submission attempt probably gives the round to Oliveira to many people. But that's not what's controversial here, though. We go to the second round. Tsarukyan gets a takedown with ground and pound for 3 minutes. That's his round for sure. No one's disputing that. It's the third round that has me very confused. It has me very, very confused. It's almost akin to... There's certain spots here that I think people need to understand on what's in and then what's not in. Ciryl Gane having his leg lock on Ngannou, that's not in. And that's what this is. You have Tsarukyan getting a takedown with some ground and pound, outstriking Oliveira on the feet, and then Oliveira getting out of the takedown and getting a submission attempt to close the round. Now, when I say getting a submission attempt, it's not in. For one, Tsarukyan puts a thumbs up, and the submission attempt at the end doesn't nullify the 4 minutes of actual work that Tsarukyan did. Getting a takedown, getting ground and pound, outstriking Oliveira on the feet. All for Oliveira at the very end to try to catch him in a Darce or Anaconda, I can't remember, and it not be in. It's not in. And it's not in. He's just stalling. It's insane that someone scored that for him. But someone did. And let's go to the judges' scorecards. We go to Mike Bell. He gives the first round to Oliveira. Okay. Gives the second round to Tsarukyan. And he gives the last round to Oliveira. Mike Bell's just on one. At that point, he's on one. What are we doing? I feel like these guys are so super biased to the jiu-jitsu guys. It's insane. There's no way in your right mind that you're sitting there going, oh, wow, Tsarukyan just beat him for 4 minutes. Oh, he caught him in okay. He latched up a Darce. It's not in. That submission attempt does not equate the I hate this, the damage that was done to Oliveira in the first 4 minutes. Ridiculous. And it's Mike Bell who did it. It's fucking stupid. And then you have to have Adelaide Bird save him. So she gives the first round to Oliveira, gives the last two to Tsarukyan. Correct. Rob McCarthy, the same thing. It's nuts. Fucking stupid. Honorable mention to Mike Bell. It's fucking stupid. Like they almost robbed Tsarukyan. Tsarukyan almost got robbed twice. He got robbed against Garbrandt, and then he was almost going to get robbed here. Granted, I like Oliveira, so I wouldn't have been mad at it, like on a personal level. But from a scoring perspective, it's insane. You go to the next honorable mention. This is Gaethje versus Holloway. This is super simple to score. Very simple to score. First 3 rounds are for Holloway. 4th round for Gaethje is what I scored it for. And then it ends in a ridiculous... At this point, I'm thinking Holloway trains for this. There's no one on the planet who can convince me otherwise that Max Holloway, I feel he trains for this. I don't know how you could train for this, but I feel like secretly he trains for this. He, for the 3rd or 4th time in his career, he called someone to the center to just swing. That is it's almost like the Oliveira tactic when he goes up to the corners and he like hugs them. Yeah, he's being nice, but that's like a slight mind game thing. Holloway doing the, hey, yo, let's go in the center and swing. There's a technique to it. He's ducking, he's moving. No one's throwing uppercuts when they're swinging like that. No one does that. That's regardless of the point. He folds Gaethje in the 5th round, and he wins literally in the last second. He was winning the entire fight. He could have done anything. He could have ran around the ring if he wanted to. He still would have won. Doesn't matter. We start off in the first round. Okay, in the first round, Holloway outstrikes Gaethje by about 8+ strikes. Second round, outstrikes Gaethje. Third round, outstrikes Gaethje. Fourth round, Gaethje is losing a large portion of the third round. He starts to then kind of come back. He then starts to slowly and progressively outstrike Holloway. And then he drops Holloway as well in the 4th round. That's the only round for Gaethje. And then, like I said, he gets folded in the 5th round. You go to the judges' scorecards, where one judge just decides to be cute. It's stupid. Derek Cleary, his scorecard reflects mine. Saul D'Amato, his scorecard reflects mine. The Junichiro Kamijo just loses it. I don't know. He gives the first round to Holloway, gives the second round to Gaethje. 3rd round to Holloway, 4th round to Gaethje. Honorable mention for that second round. That's... What? No. It's not what no. Absolutely ridiculous. Honorable mention there. Then we go to the Zhang versus Yan fight. Once the 3rd round happened, right, going into the 4th, I was thinking, oh my god, are we gonna get like an interesting title fight finally? No, I was entirely wrong. Zhang has phantom cardio where it goes and then it comes back. It's ridiculous. But I had 49-46 for Zhang. Every round for her except for the 3rd round. Okay, you go to the 1st round. Both had a takedown. Both of them had a takedown, but Zhang had a ground and pound and a submission attempt to close the round. You go to the 2nd round where Zhang had a takedown with ground and pound for 2+ minutes. Yan had a reversal, but that's irrelevant. 3rd round is the cool round. Yan had 2 takedowns and she dropped Zhang. Okay, there's these moments where she dropped Zhang multiple times, but she couldn't really do much with it in the 4th round. But in the 3rd round, she dropped her, and she outstruck her on the feet, and she had 2 takedowns. In the 4th round, start of the round, she outstrikes Zhang again, right? This is where we're thinking, oh shit, things are going to look different. No, she outstrikes Zhang, but Zhang gets a takedown with ground and pound for 2+ minutes. She basically, once she gets dropped, she grabs a hold of Yan, and she keeps her down on the ground for 2 minutes of just ground and pound. 5th round, Zhang had 2 takedowns with ground and pound for 3+ minutes, and that's where you get 49-46. You go to the judges' scorecards, and again, we just have, I believe goofiness here. Just real goofiness from all 3, in my opinion. 49-40, 49-45. And what I think it is here is it's the fact that the submission attempt, I want to say it's not the first round. What round is it? Because the submission attempt is in the first round. The submission attempt that has Yan wobbling to her corner is after the first round. So bear in mind that. Right, we go to the second round. I want to highlight this for scorecard reasons. Zhang has a takedown with ground and pound for 2 minutes. Yan has a reversal. I'm so confused as to why all three judges gave Wei Li a 10-8. It doesn't make sense. Maybe I'll have to rewatch it, but in this very moment, it makes zero fucking sense. It was the first round where Zhang locked something up, and by the time that bell rang, Yan was out. She was out, but she was cognizant enough to get back up and get to her seat. All three judges have it the exact same, except for the fact that all their scorecards reflect mine, minus they all put a 10-8 for Wei Li in the second. All having it 49-45 for Zhang Wei Li. I disagree with all three. That's all I can say. And then Pereira versus Hill. Starts off on the feet. They're both trading leg kicks. Hill kicks Pereira in the cup. They're going to stop it. They're going to take a timeout. No. Pereira says no. He waves off Herb Dean. Catches Jamal Hill. And he gets the KO finish. He knocks him out. He knocks him out with ground and pound. It's insane. And that's it. It's a pretty good card. It was an amazing card. It was a fun card. If you watched it with friends, it was fun. If you watched it by yourself, it's probably fun too. Obviously, the highlight was Gaethje versus Holloway and Pereira. And Pereira if you're a big Pereira fan. But Prochazka versus Rakic. Those were the big shining moments. If you watch the prelims, it was the Bobby Green versus Miller moment where Bobby Green painted Miller's body, was covered in blood. Just an insane visual. But that's pretty much it. We got a week off of MMA, thank goodness. Week off of UFC. And I'll be back for the next card. Thank you all for listening, and God bless.